Oh my Lanta! Golly, this thing is quick. 1 year, 1 month is the longest that I've gone without buying a vehicle in, I don't know, 5, 6+ years, and I did okay, but it was secretly killing me. But this isn't the reason why we got a new project. Life happens, your circumstances changes, your goals change. Keyword goals. Goals change, and this new project fits my goals perfectly. For the OGs, thanks a lot for watching. For everyone that's new, go ahead and subscribe if you end up liking this new project. Probably know in the title or description what's going on, but you can find out in a second. Before I show you the project, which is right in front of me, I'm talking about the SS here. I've had this for a little over a year. I've had a lot of recent interest in the most recent video, or the only video I put out of it, so thanks a lot for that. I'm going to do a 1-year update video with this project here in a little bit, but I got some other stuff going on. There'll be a video about that. There'll be some slight delays in videos, but until then, I'm going to show you the new project. If you're a super OG to the channel, you've known that I've actually owned a Pontiac G8 before, and this is what we've got back behind here. Only difference is my other one was a 2008, it was bone stock. This is a 2009, a little bit higher mileage, but it's got some modifications done to it. Big shout out to my buddy Travis who sold me this. I've known about this car for several years now, and he wanted to sell it, and I said I wanted it, and here we are. So I'm going to show you what's all done to this G8 and kind of what state it's in currently. I've not touched it since I've picked it up, and show you the mods and just kind of share what my plans are with it, and curious to let me know what you guys think about the plans. Okay, what we're working with here is a 2009 Pontiac G8 GT. It's got just under 130,000 miles on this version. The main reason I sold my other one, I think I sold it with just under 90,000 miles, was displacement on demand. That's what kills these cars. From the factory, they came with displacement on demand, which would shift 4 cylinders. The V8 would shift to 4-cylinder mode on the highway, and all the components along with that would just fail. I purposely bought my last one with those parts replaced, and they failed again in less than 100,000 miles. So thankfully this has had all of that replaced, and I'll go over exactly those details here in a second, but cosmetically, let's take a look at it. You can tell right off the bat, these do not have the stock wheels. They have CTSV sedan wheels, and they are black. Another touching point or modification are the Brembos up front. The 4-piston Brembos, a nice touch. These did not come with Brembos, at least in the GT version of them. The only other modification exterior-wise, if you don't count the exhaust tips, are the tail lights. They are not stock. I don't know if I'm sold on them yet or not. Let me know in the comments if you like them or not. They are LED. They don't look terrible, but I'm really just an OEM kind of guy. It's got the GXP back diffuser. Back in the day, these were cheap as anything. Now they're impossible to find. It does have exhaust tips, which leads you to believe it has an exhaust on it, which sounds pretty good. Cosmetic flaws with this. Technically, this back trunk has been replaced, and the paint quality on it is very good. Actually, the other trunk that came off of this is over here. There was a fender bender with it, but the paint quality of this trunk is very bad. And unfortunately, the same can be said for most of the top surfaces. So like this roof is in rough shape. Slightly here it's a little rough, but anything on the side is near perfect. The hood has a slight bit of this same imperfection as well. Here's what I'm going to do. The same imperfections exist on this trunk. Since this trunk is now useless to me, I'm going to go to town on it, experimenting with polishes and sandpaper, etc. So I'll make a video about that. If we find success in that, we'll apply it to this and make it look good. It does have a window tint on it. It does not have any suspension mods done to it. It is still the stock suspension. It actually sits very nicely. Let me show you the inside real quick. At the time of this video, these are 12, 13 years old, so these are getting up there, and this is a GM product, although it was manufactured in Australia, it's still GM. Certain things like this leather's like peeling off, this handle's snapped here. All of these G8s, the side panel snaps right here. And the other most notorious thing is that the headliner sags. This one has about a bajillion push pins all over it to keep it up, so we'll take care of that. The only weird one I've noticed as far as wear goes, the steering wheel's in rather rough shape. All the leather's peeled from it. This is a sport edition, you can tell by the pedals, and typically you could tell by the wheels it had. They had 19s, but the sport edition came with a beefier wheel than the other ones as well. Other than that, it's pretty clean in here. It doesn't smell, it's nice, and it just needs a small little couple modifications to make it right again. Let me show you the main reason why I bought this, which is lays underneath the hood. The front bumper's in rather great shape. It's very good. The headlights are a little bit yellowed, so we'll take care of that in a future video. Go ahead and pop the hood. Boom! Since it doesn't have the stock cover, it's probably being modified, which it has. So this has a full exhaust on it. It also has a cam replaced in it, has the oil pump replaced in it, has lifters, valve springs, etc. So the displacement on demand garbage is all taken out of it. It's got a pretty healthy cam in it. It sounds good, I'll show you here in a second. Overall, very similar to the SS. Biggest notable difference is the GTs had a 6-liter versus a 6.2, and the GTs had typical hydraulic power steering where the SS's have electronic power steering. But other than that, very similar in here. Let's hear how it sounds. It sounds really good. This G8 has a Hooker Blackhawk active dual exhaust on it. It's attitude adjusted. It's a pretty fancy system, honestly. Oh my Lanta! That sounds like freedom, baby! Golly, that is choppy. It's still cold, so it's a kind of a cold start, if you will. When it cools down a little bit, you hear the chop, but my Lanta is this thing loud. There you go. You can see the LEDs. Golly, this thing sounds great. All right. Who knows if you can actually hear me or not. I'll show you what's going on inside here once I unlock it. God, that sounds mean. Interesting part is it's rather quiet in here. It's just noisy out back. Like I mentioned, this thing has a Hooker Blackhawk attitude adjuster on it. And so what that means is it hooks up to the OBD2. It's basically an exhaust valve, but it's like operates like some OEMs do with throttle modulation, load, it'll open and close valves. If I close it to touring, it becomes dramatically quiet. So I might put these back to back, but this is with the exhaust closed running through a muffler. Still sounds good, but a lot quieter, as you can tell. But the thing runs great. Sounds good too. Alright, I figured I'd take you guys for a little ride. I've only actually driven this once, maybe twice before purchasing it, so let's show you guys what it's like. Big advantage of this car is that the heat and AC work just fine. It's even got heated seats. These G8s are pretty notorious for the suspension going bad and clunking and stuff like that, which just they're wear items, you need to replace them, but this has 130,000 miles in it. To our knowledge, that the suspension has not been replaced, and it rides very nicely. So, knock on wood, it lasts a little bit longer before we have to start diving into things. This thing does make about 430 horsepower, and it also has a 3600 stall Circle D single billet converter in it, which makes it drive pretty performance oriented. Like, it's definitely far from stock, and it's kind of what makes this car so nice to drive. The G8s have a ton of potential, same like the Chevy SS's, but I think the G8s are the money buy right now because of how cheap they are and the amount of small monetary investment you can make into these to make them just incredible cars. I shouldn't say small, but I don't know, for let's say you buy a well sorted out G8, all the DoD replaced, low mileage, etc., for like 15 grand. That's a heck of a deal for a plus 400 horsepower, nice cruiser car that you can take your family in, but also have fun with. So I'm about to leave the neighborhood here. We'll give it the beans a little bit and see how she does. All right, I gotta turn around real quick actually. So let me give it the beans real quick compared to give it Golly, this thing is quick. All right, from about 10 miles an hour. Golly, this thing is quick, but it's so smooth. Man, this is the first car that I've bought, I think. At least for the YouTube channel goes, at least. This is the first car that I've bought that is a certified ripper straight from the box. I mean, someone's done some work to it, but man, this is great. All right, let's get back to the house and I'll sum up my thoughts about this build and kind of where we're going with it. As some of you OGs know, I'm originally from Australia. That's why I sound weird, because I've spent most of my life in America now in different states. So I've got a hybrid, as of right now, Australian/Kentucky accent. So that's great. Now you know that. Kind of makes sense why I've got this going on here. Just in case you guys are unaware, Chevy SS's and Pontiac G8s are technically Holden Commodores. The G8 was the VE generation of Commodore, so I think it was 2008 to 2013-ish. Correct me if I'm wrong in the comments. VF was 2014, 2017, roughly around there. They're both very similar. They have a lot of differences. Technically, they're both Holden Commodores manufactured in Australia with American parts. That's why I liked them before I moved to the United States, but now I like them even more because it's kind of a representation of who I am. There's a bunch of cool videos on Holdens and stuff as well. Racing, pedigree, you name it. Just good stuff. I mentioned when I got this SS, I've always wanted a manual Holden Commodore, which is what the Chevy SS is. It's a VF Commodore. The G8, I've had one before. I tried to satisfy that itch. When I owned it, they were not manual. I think they were about to come out with manual SS's, but they were way out of my price range. But G8s now have plummeted in price. They're starting to go on back up because of the COVID times and inflation and stuff like that, but I still think they are an incredible deal. The biggest hang up for me personally is the transmission, the automatic. As of right now, this is the stages, and correct me if I'm wrong. If you want to see something different, leave a comment below. But stage one, get the car back into its restored state, meaning we get the interior sorted, we get the paint sorted, and we get it just cleaned up and presentable like a basically new G8, but with the OEM plus modifications it had done to it, like the wheels, exhaust, etc. Phase two, I am pretty sure that we want to try something different with the transmission. I don't know what yet. And then stage three, or vice versa, or at the same time, I want there to be boost on this. I'm not sure what route I'm going to go yet. LSAs are very popular. They bolt right in. It's like these cars were made to have an LSA blower from a CTSV or a Z01 Camaro. They fit right on. Or you go the turbo route, which is very bogan, very Australian, which I kind of like as well. Honestly, I have no clue which way I'm going to go. So if you got any suggestions or input, leave a comment below. I'm really excited about this car. I've wanted to build a crazy Holden Commodore for a long time, but never had the time or the funds to do it, or I didn't have the skill set either. And building up that truck has immensely grown my skill set, both from what I learned and learning from others that helped me along the way. And I hope to take all the good nuggets I got from that and apply it into this car. What that means for the SS? Well, I'm still going to keep modifying it, but this thing's not going to be unreliable. The main goal of this is to keep it super reliable, super cool, but at the same time, this G8 should be reliable and will be more of the fun car. I do wish I had a two-door right now. That may change in the future. Kind of thinking of something in addition to all these, which is first world problems, but I really am looking forward to doing more and more projects. We've got more stuff to do the SS, more stuff to do the G8, and definitely stuff to do the Tundra. And then other people's vehicles, we're going to check them out, and maybe another vehicle that I'll get, we'll check out as well. And then I'll explain all this dirt's doing here in another video as well. If you can put two and two together, you think you know what's going on here, you're probably right. All right, well, that's all I've got for today. I just wanted to get that out there, that this G8 is in the Garage Topics Club Dirty Fresh channel. Club Dirty Fresh vibes coming at you real quick right now. Got some more videos coming in the future for sure. Be sure to like and subscribe if you like what you saw here. And I really appreciate everyone that stuck with me through all these videos and such. And I appreciate you, because without you, I wouldn't make any videos, or no one would watch them, and I'd feel sad. I'd be sharing it with myself and me and maybe my dog. Which, if you got a dog, make sure they get spayed and neutered, because that's the way to do it. All right, catch you guys later. Make sure you have fun. Peace out.